All right, let's talk about one of the coolest, most, well, magical things inside Nuxt 3. Its file-based routing system. Seriously, it feels like it reads your mind. But by the time we're done here, you'll see it's not magic at all. It's just a really, really smart idea that's going to change how you build apps.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been deep in a project, staring at a giant router file? You know the one. It's got dozens, maybe hundreds of lines of imports, path definitions, and component names. It's just a total pain and so easy to mess up. What if you could just not do that anymore?
Well, that's exactly what file-based routing does for you. The big idea here is so simple, it's kind of beautiful. Your folder structure becomes your app's routes. You just create files and folders in a special Pages directory, and Nuxt handles the rest. No config file needed.
So let's start at the beginning. We're talking zero configuration. This is the part that, like I said, feels like magic, because you literally do almost nothing and it just works.
It all boils down to this, the Pages directory. The second you create this folder in your project, it becomes the absolute source of truth for all your URLs. Every single Vue component you drop in there, boom, it's a page now.
And look how intuitive this is. You make an about.vue file, you get an about URL. You make a users folder and put a profile.vue file inside, you get users/profile. And see that index.vue file? That's special. It always becomes the root of whatever folder it's in. So pages/index.vue is your home page, and pages/users/index.vue is the users page. It's a perfect one-to-one map. What you see in your file explorer is what you get in the browser.
Okay, static pages are great, but let's be real. Modern apps need dynamic content. We need to show user profiles, blog posts, product pages. This is where we go beyond the initial magic and get into some seriously powerful stuff. This is where you start adding the power.
So how do you handle something like a user ID in the URL? It's all in the file name. You just wrap a part of the file name in square brackets. So a file named id.vue inside a users folder tells Nuxt, hey, this part of the URL is a variable and it's required. This route will match /users/123, but it won't match /users by itself because that ID is missing.
But what if you want that parameter to be optional? Easy. Just add another set of square brackets. A file named slug.vue is super flexible. It'll match the plain root URL, like / if there's no parameter, but it'll also match /test if there is one. It's incredibly handy.
And for the ultimate power move, there's the catch-all route. You use square brackets with 3 dots inside, like .slug.vue. This thing is greedy. It will match anything and everything that comes after it. So a URL like some deeply nested path can all be handled by this one single file. Think of it for custom 404 pages or complex content paths.
Okay, so we've captured these values from the URL. Now what? How do we actually use them? Well, inside your page component, Nuxt automatically gives you access to a special .route.params object. So for a crazy file name like users-group/id.vue, you can just grab group and ID directly from that object. It's right there, waiting for you.
Which means if someone goes to /users-admins/123, our component can just pull admins and 123 right out of the URL and display them. It's this perfect seamless flow of data from the address bar straight into your components template. No extra work needed. All right, we've got the basics down. We've got dynamic routes. But what about the tricky stuff, the edge cases? Let's dive into how Nuxt gives you some really fine-grained tools to get full control and truly master your URLs.
Okay, here's a situation I bet you've run into. You want to group some related pages together in a folder, maybe for your marketing team, but you don't want that folder's name, marketing, showing up in the actual URL. You want about, not marketing/about. How do you do that?
Nuxt has this really elegant solution called route groups. You just wrap the folder's name in parentheses. That's it. Nuxt sees the parentheses and knows, okay, this folder is just for organizing files. I'm going to ignore it when I build the URL. So you get the best of both worlds, a clean project structure and clean URLs. Now for things like dashboards with a persistent sidebar, you'll want to use nested routes.
The way it works is you create a parent page, like dashboard.view, which has your main layout. Then, somewhere inside that parent component, you drop in a special Nuxt page component. Think of it like a window frame. It tells Nuxt where to render the child pages like dashboard/settings.view. So file names are great for controlling the URL path itself. But what about everything else? What about metadata, middleware, transitions, or layouts? For all that fine-tuning, you use a macro called define page meta, and you put it right inside your page component script section.
And this thing is loaded with superpowers. Want a different layout for just this one page? Bam! Layout. Need to run some code to check if a user is logged in before they see the page? Yep, middleware. You can even do things like create an alias, so /about_us points to the same page as /about. It is the ultimate control panel for every single route.
Okay, we've built all these amazing pages just by creating files. But how do people actually get from one to the other? Let's talk about the final piece of the puzzle, connecting the dots and making it all navigable.
Nuxt gives you two main ways to handle navigation. The first is what you might call the HTML way. You use the Nuxt link component right in your templates. It's basically a superpowered version of a normal link tag. The second is the JavaScript way, using a function called navigate_to in your script when you need to trigger navigation based on some logic.
And here's the dead simple way to know which one to use. If a user is going to click on it, like a navigation menu item or a read more button, use Nuxt link. If your code needs to trigger the navigation, like redirecting the user after they log in or submit a form, you use navigate_to. Simple as that.
And really, that's the core of it. File-based routing in Nuxt is this simple, powerful, and deeply intuitive system that takes what used to be a chore and makes it a natural part of building your app. So I'll leave you with this to think about. If your routes are just a direct reflection of your files, how does that change the way you'll plan and architect your next big project? Thanks for tuning in.